Hey guys, welcome to the latest edition of Asian Persuasion MMA's Asian Roundup with myself, Leon. I'm still here in England. The sun is still shining. It is glorious, and it was an amazing weekend of fights. Both won. Pinnacle of Power and UFC Singapore both went down. Let's go through some of them quickly, some of the highlights of that crazy weekend. Let's start off with Pinnacle of Power first. Lee Kai Wen, 10-second finish. Quickest finish of the weekend. Wow, what can you say about that? Phenomenal, really. So good. Elsewhere in that card, Yukinori Ogasawara, spectacular spinning elbow TKO in the One Super Series. Another one of the spectacular finishes this weekend. You had Jadamba, who looked very impressive. I don't think he'd fought since 2015. Came back against Edward Kelly, again a pretty big name, popular Filipino. Looks fantastic, dominated him pretty much for the whole 3 rounds there. And that's now the second Kelly he's beaten after beating Eric Kelly previously. So it'll be interesting to see what next for Jadamba. Looked better than ever. So be excited to see what happens, who he fights next. Next up, Ev Ting, the popular Malaysian fighter with another big performance. He brings it every time. You're going to ask now, is Martin Nguyen next? Is the fight for the lightweight title next? It's got to be in the mix. You have to say it's got to be between him and Shinya Aoki, who fights pretty soon as well. Obviously Martin himself is fighting at the end of July in Manila. He's fighting Kevin Bellingon for that interim bantamweight belt. So he could be a champ. And I think Ev Ting, for me, depends what Shinya Aoki's done. He's got an exciting fight against Shanyon Wirichai. But I think Ev Ting's done enough to deserve it. Like I said, he brings it every time. 2 popular fighters. That fight will be huge, and it'll be a fun one. In the co-main event, Zhong Jingnan putting another dominant performance against Argentina's Laura Bailin. Laura Bailin showed big heart. I think done a lot better than a lot of people thought she would do. But the Panda just looks so good. What next for her? Maybe Angela Lee? She said she's going to move up a weight class. Either stay there or try and defend both belts. But I think she'll certainly move up a weight class. That would be a fun one. That would be a huge fight. If they put that in China or Singapore, that would be massive. In the main event, we had champion versus interim champion, Adriano Moraes versus Heichi Eustaquio. And it was such a close fight. Split decision went Eustaquio's way, the popular Filipino Team Lakay fighter. Very close. I couldn't really decide which way that went. I'd be a rubbish judge. But how did you see it? Did you see it going his way? Is a rematch next? That's an interesting division as well, that flyweight division. So be interesting to see what happens next there. You wouldn't argue of a rematch, but then there's other people perfectly deserving of another title shot there. If we head over to Singapore, again, both cards going at the same time. I had a very busy Saturday. I pretty much watched MMA fights for, I think, 24 fights over about 11-12 hours straight. I think it was my record of run of straight MMA fights. Not that I'm complaining, it was a fantastic day. So what happened there? Filipino Rolando Dai versus Shane Young. Fight of the night. Brilliant fight. Also saw Shane Young there come in with the Maori flag and speak the language of Maori afterwards as well as the first. So that was nice to see. And he's an interesting guy. If you didn't see it, check out our post-fight interview with Akhilesh. You can check it out on YouTube and Facebook. He's a fascinating character. Big fan of his already. Who else? Song Yadong with a brilliant finish over Philippe Arantes, which also warranted him a bonus for one of the performances of the night. Brilliant finish. Since then, just yesterday, Philippe announced his retirement from MMA. Probably not the best way to go out, but I think he said after he felt his heart's not really in it. But fantastic performance, finish there by Song. Another brilliant finish was Peter Yan over Teruto Yoshihara, the popular fun fighter from Team Alpha Male. Keep saying Male. Team Alpha Male. That was, for me, that was one of the best finishes of the weekend. I think he was very unlucky there not to win one of the bonus performance of the night. Li Jingliang kind of redeemed himself with a solid performance, solid win. I think a lot of people remember him from his fight against Jake Matthews and the eye gouging. Obviously didn't come out of that fight looking too good, but kind of redeemed himself here. Good performance, popular character, particularly in Asia. Be interesting to see who he fights next. Next up, there's the Battle of the Jessicas. Was won by Jessica I over Jessica Rose Clark. Jessie Jess. That was a pretty close match. I think the went the right way. Jessica I, she's a real force to be reckoned with in this flyweight division. She made a point of that afterwards in her post-fight speech, that she didn't really get the credit she deserved, maybe up a weight class, down a weight class. She really feels like this is her weight class. So it'd be really interesting to see who UFC put her in against next. I know she's felt a little bit hard done by the UFC in the past. Hopefully look after. I think that performance deserves a big fight for her, and she must be close to getting a title shot in this division. OSP over in St. Peru. He kind of put himself back in the mix there in that light heavyweight division with another fantastic submission win over Tyson Pedro. Obviously he'd come off against a loss, I think, against Jimmy Manoa. That's an interesting division. There's no real standout contenders apart from maybe Alexander Gustafsson, who hasn't fought like regularly. I mean, his last fight was against Glover Teixeira, and I thought that was his best ever performance, despite two great performances against Daniel Cormier and John Jones. For me, he looked fantastic against Glover Teixeira. Obviously, DC is fighting for the heavyweight title, UFC 226, July 6th or 7th. I think it depends on where you are in the world. But OSP, yeah, he's put himself back in that mix in that light heavyweight division. And then the main event saw my namesake Leon Edwards beat Donald Cowboy Cerrone. Yeah, kind of pretty one-sided fight. Deserving the victory, definitely deserving of a big fight next, possibly Darren Till, Battle of the Brits. That'd be a fun one. There's a few good matchups there for him. I was interested afterwards, Daniel Cowboy saying he was sick all day, couldn't get out of bed. He'd never felt like that before, and he almost called Dana White and said, "Oh, I can't come to work today." I can't remember which fight it was. I was going to look it up actually. I'll do that afterwards. He said that once before. I think he might have won that fight, but he said it before. He said he was ill all day, didn't feel like it, and I'm pretty sure he did win that fight, and he put in a pretty good performance. So interesting there. I'm not sure what was up with that, but he said afterwards in the press conference he's far from retiring. He sees himself fighting for another 5 years with lots of fights. So lots more exciting fights for Cowboy, and fair play to him. He does what a lot of people don't do. He gives the Darren Till, the Leon Edwards a chance, whereas a lot of fighters are too scared to do that because they're fights where you've got a lot to lose and not a lot to gain. So fair play to Cowboy. Everyone loves him. Looking forward to his next fight. So that's pretty much that weekend really. I mean, it was a fun day of great fights, some big performances and some really, really good finishes. So what's coming up next? Well, in the last couple of days, One Championship have announced their pretty much their full card for Battle of the Heavens, which goes down July 7th in China. That's going to be headlined with a One Super Series Atomweight Championship belt fight between Yocheri Sitadong and Kai Ting Xiang. That'll be the main event. I think that's going to be the first time a One Super Series has headlined a card. Obviously it's had co-main events, had some big fights, some Muay Thai legends. I personally think this One Super Series has been a huge success. I think it's been brilliant. I love the mixture of the MMA, the kickboxing, the Muay Thai. Also looking forward to cards where it will just be one super series, and they'll be fun as well. But elsewhere on that card, you've got Stella Nunes versus Gina Iniong. That's going to be a fun one. Estella hasn't fought since she lost to Angela Lee last May, so she's been away from the scene for a year. That was her first loss as well, so it'll be interesting to see how she comes back from a year off and her first loss. And Gina Iniong, she's coming off a victory over Jenny Hyung, I believe, and she's a big name fighter, good fighter, so that's going to be a fun one. Elsewhere, you've got Reese McLaren, who also always brings it, and he's fighting Tatsumitsu Wada, who is the deep champion, I believe. So that should be a fun one. So that's just been them fights been announced the last couple of days. Tomorrow in Yangon, you've got Spirit of Warrior, which has a certain Ong Long Song in the main event. Probably the most famous person in Myanmar. So you can expect fireworks there. I mean, it's not the most stacked card, I'd say, but it's got a really fun start to the card. You've got Elliot Compton in a one super series kickboxing fight, one of the best strikers coming out of Australia. He's taking on the American Matthew Semper. So that's going to be a nice fun start to the card. Elsewhere, I don't know if you've seen this online, but check out the Kenon Singh, I hope I'm saying their surname right, the sisters Rena and Ramina. I think one's in grade 2, one's in kindergarten, and their Muay Thai skills have gone crazy online. Check them out. I'll put a link below this if you want to check them out. But 2 little kids with amazing Muay Thai skills taken over the internet. And lastly, a crazy little story to finish. In the main event at the Rajdamnern Stadium, Sam D, Petchindi and Tanadek Pran, their fight was stopped through lack of action. They were warned 49 times in the second round, and then come the third round, the referee had enough, sent them back to the corners and said, that's enough. Obviously, you don't see that happen every day. It does happen every now and then, particularly in Muay Thai. It can tend to happen a little bit. They tend to feel each other out in the first round. Second round, get a bit more aggressive, and third round, they're generally going for it. But obviously, this was pretty extreme. The other thing as well is there's a lot of gambling culture in Muay Thai in Thailand that can have effects on the standing off and the action as well. But yeah, crazy scenes. You can probably check that out online as well. And that's it pretty much. So we've got, like I said, got Spirit of Warrior tomorrow in Yangon, Myanmar. And then you've got some big cards, start of July, you've got UFC 226, and then for one championship, you've got the Battle of the Heathens, which goes on in China, I think that same weekend. So that's it for today. Thank you for watching. Any comments, chuck them down below, and we'll see you next time.